Shalom Aleichem, this is Rabbi Kovacs, and it is Zeus Chanukah, the last day of Chanukah. It is Erev Shabbos Miketz, and Mishnah Yomi is in chapter 14 of Yevamot, Mishnah number Gimel. Shnei Achin Hershim. What if there are two brothers, and both of them are in the Heresh category? They are deaf and they are mute, they're not able to communicate, their marriage is on a rabbinical level, as we will see. Nesuin Lishtei Achayot Hershot, they're married to two sisters, who are also both deaf and mute, or they're married to two women who are able to communicate, or they're married to two sisters, and one of them is in the deaf-mute category, and one of them is not. Now the Mishnah adds the opposite case from the woman's perspective, or there's two sisters, they're both deaf and mute, and they got married to two normal communicative men, or to two Heresh men. That's the same case as the first one the Mishnah listed. Or they married two brothers, and one of them is communicating and one of them is not. Hare elu, behold, all of these cases, beturot mina chalitza mina yibum. There's no chalitza, there's no yibum. If one of these brothers dies without children, then his widow goes out with no chalitza and no yibum. The reason being, in all of these cases, the marriage involves a Heresh, a deaf mute, and it's a rabbinical level marriage. So there's a rabbinical mitzvah of yibum, but there's also a rabbinical marriage to the sister. So it's the wife's sister who's falling to yibum to the surviving brother, and of course that's an Isser Erva, and it does not allow a mitzvah of yibum. And since it's an erva, going way back to chapter 1, we do not even need a chalitza. She can go and get remarried. Now the Mishnah has the corollary, im hayu nochriot. If it was not two sisters, but it was two unrelated women, yichnoisu, then he has to marry her in yibum, meaning the surviving brother must marry his brother's widow in yibum. The reason being, if he's a cheresh or she's a chereshet, as all these cases are, then we can't do it. As we learned in the chapter about chalitza, a Heresh cannot give a chalitza or receive a chalitza. So the only real option here is to marry the widow in Yibum, and then if after that they want to get divorced, they can go ahead and end the Yibum marriage that way. Let's go on to Mishnah Dalit, similar situation. Shnei Achim, there's two brothers, Echad Heresh, Echad Pikeach. Now one of them is deaf-mute, and the other one is communicating and has full das, according to halacha. Nisuim lishtei achayot pikot, and they're married to two women who are both normal functioning. Met Heresh, the one who is deaf-mute brother, passed away without children. Bal pikachat, he's the husband of a functional wife. Ma yaseh pikeach bal pikachat. What does the surviving brother do, who's married to the pikachat woman? Teitzei mishim achot isha. She goes out without yibum or chalitza. The widow goes out to marry anyone she wants. With nothing, because that's the sister of his wife. And that's an erva, and it does not allow for the mitzvah of yibum, and not even chalitza is needed. Now the Mishnah goes on, met pikeach bal pikachat. But what happens if the pikeach brother, the normal communicative brother, he passes away without children? Ma say cheresh bal pikachat. What does his brother, the cheresh, do? Now, even though this cheresh is married to a functional, normal communicating woman, it's the rabbinical marriage because he's a deaf-mute. Motze ishto baget. So Nebuch, he has to divorce his first wife with a get. Eishet achi v'sur la'olam. And the widow of his deceased brother is stuck. She is forbidden to be married. He can't do a yibum with her because that's his wife's sister, at least his durabanan wife. It's still a wife's sister, still an erva. And he can't do chalitza because he's a cheresh, a deaf-mute, unless he gets, some sort of procedure or improvement or a healing. As long as he's a cheresh, he can't do chalitza either. So that he doesn't have a way to cancel out the zika and to allow her to marry someone else. The Mishnah says, what about shnei achin pichim, two normal brothers, nisum l'shnei achayot, they're married to two sisters, achad cheresh, achad bikachat. One is a deaf-mute and one is normal. Actually, let's pause it there. I've just realized that this Mishnah Dalet is one huge Mishnah to the end of the Perek, but they actually break this up. The Mishnah Yomi program breaks up Mishnah Dalet, as some of the other readings do, as the Kahati points out, into sub-Mishnayos. So the case of Shnei Achin Pichin we're actually going to cover in tomorrow's limud. So Baruch Hashem, stay tuned. Preview of coming attractions here. Happy the rest of Hanukkah. Good Shabbos. Sei gesund.